and welcome to the Replaycast. I'm Tony.
And I'm Chad.
And I am Tony Bagsby, the co-founder of Indienomicon, and I have my own little art house. I'm the owner of the Corgi Art House. The art house is a art outsourcing company for our indie developers here. I'm in the Orlando game space.
My name's Chad Hoover. I am the founder of Continuum Studio, also here at the Orlando game space. We focus on the development of fun and learning in our games that we develop. And I am also a current 2017 board member for Indienomicon.
So many of you might be asking, actually most of you probably know what Indienomicon is, seeing as this is the official Indienomicon podcast. But many of you might be asking,
what is Indienomicon?
So we are Orlando's independent game developer community group. We're all about the indies. And here in Orlando, we do what we can to grow the indie community and support the indie community that's already here. We have a number of great indie developers already here, and we're just trying to see where we can go with that.
So as a current 2017 board member, all of the new board members, we were looking and seeing where we can expand Indienomicon.
Correct.
As you and I both know, we've been staying here within the past 4 years. We've tried to develop this strong community, and we've done a reasonably good job at it. But now we want to expand it.
Right.
And one way is by the old school radio waves, ladies and gentlemen. Right? So we have come up with this idea of the Replaycast.
Right.
So what's the Replaycast?
Yes. So the Replaycast, as Chad was saying, we've done a great job building the community here, but I've been going out there in the world and networking at things like GDC and things, and I realized there are a lot of people outside of Orlando that really wish that they could support Indienomicon in a way. And that's the whole point of the Replaycast here, is we're trying to deliver value to you guys that can come outside of Orlando so that you guys can find a way to support Indienomicon and get value out of supporting it by interacting with us here at the Replaycast.
So with the Replaycast, right, we have come up with some, we believe, some strong points, at least to start with, about content that we can bring to you that we believe that you're going to provide that value from, right? The biggest thing that we are going to do is throughout the whole entire year, because we develop games, we talk about games, is all of these conferences that focus around games and its development. We just finished E3. The next time you hear from us, it's going to be talking about E3, what we felt were good, positive, talking about the conferences, right? All across the whole realm of spectrums. That's the next time you're going to hear from us on a podcast outside of this intro, right? Mm-hmm. But outside of all the other big ones we want to do, we need to have filler content and space to keep you guys engaged so it doesn't look like we just come and pop out of nowhere. So some of that content, one item that's going to include there is being able to play games that are coming out and give you guys reviews, what we feel about them, what our takes on them from being in the community with you.
Of course, we're also going to be keeping an eye on industry news, so anything that comes up in the games industry that we think is relevant of talking about, we're going to talk about. We are indie focused, so we are going to focus on more the indie side, but we don't forget about our AAA friends here at Indienomicon. We're also going to include that as well. There's a lot of great talent that we want to bring to you guys, so we're going to do some interviews. Some of that's going to be some of our people from our community here in Orlando. So we got some great people here, and we definitely want to share them with you. But we've also got some good contacts outside of Orlando, and as I said, the point of the Replaycast is to help grow Indienomicon out of Orlando. So we're going to bring in some of those guys to do some remote podcast.
So from that, we're going to being able to engage you guys through social media, and we're going to throw out questions for you guys might have, right? So if we announce that we're going to have a guest speaker in here on the Replaycast, you can throw some questions. We can ask them here when they're here recording with us live, and so you can potentially hear your question, right? Any question that we might say on the podcast, you never know. There might be some prizes into it. You never know. Wink, wink, hint, hint, right? So create strong engagement is big with question and answer.
So we're also going to do what we are calling Indie Game of the Month or Indie Game of the Week, depending on how frequent these podcasts are. But Chad and I are going to each research an indie game every time we do this podcast to talk to you guys about one of our favorite indie games. And there's a ton out there. Hopefully this will teach or help you guys learn about a cool indie game out there that you might want to check out.
So on top of that, Tony had brought up we're doing interviews. Interviews are having a particular conversation with someone that could be local, and as well as not, right? We're also doing something that we're calling Dev Talk, right? Dev Talk is an opportunity for the community to directly engage in a guest speaker. The proper communicational channels will get announced when that's fully going forward, but you can consider the Dev Talk period of our podcast is talking about industry-focused content, right? We're talking about game development and what it does to each of our lives, or if we have somebody else that's coming to visit and we want to talk to you guys about, and you can take their questions live, in person, via online, or at a particular opportunity.
And then there's the player 1 versus player 2 debate.
So
Player
what's
versus
that?
player. Well, pretty much Chad and I are going to take an issue and take opposite sides and debate it. Old school debate style.
I love it. I like it. As long as I have extra lives.
You'll need them.
That's right. And then finally, because as Indie Focus is, all of our games that we develop for have some sort of old school nostalgia feel where we get our incentive from. Our home is back when games were created. So there's going to be a period of the podcast where we're going to talk about nostalgia factors, our favorite game series, what we liked about a console back in an era, and
maybe a little bit of history sprinkled in.
Our way of just giving back that content and feeling to where we come from. Right? These are just some of the things that Tony and I have come to the surface and thought about what we want to do. Right? But we're going to completely open it up to you guys to help provide the content that you guys want to hear. Right?
Obviously, we want to give you the content you want to hear.
So we feel that what we have is a strong starting point, but we want to tailor it for you guys. We want to tell you and help you educate you guys on what you want to hear. It's really what it breaks down to.
Now, how are we going to do this? How can you support Indienomicon?
So one of the primary ways in 2017 that we're focusing on is we're building a brand new exclusive Patreon campaign. But what's Patreon? Patreon is a system or a website that's similar to other crowdfunding sources that most people fill in, whether it's Kickstarter or Indiegogo. There's other particular ones like that. The uniqueness of Patreon is it's done on a monthly basis. Our podcast, our content for Indienomicon will be reached through our Patreon page, Indienomicon.
Yep.
So for those Patreons who submit money, will be able to access this podcast at minimum 30 days in advance. You'll be able to hear this content. And we provide it's very unique content that provides incentive that's unique for Patreon.
Of course, there are going to be other benefits as well, which you can find out on our Indienomicon Patreon page. But Patreon, kind of the best thing for us. We're a monthly sort of meetup group. We do all sorts of things, but everything we do is kind of ongoing monthly. So Patreon was definitely the right fit for us.
So the big thing is this being end of June, beginning of July. August for Indienomicon is going to be super big and super important, so make sure you all attend. The board will start officially announcing all of their announcements and news of what's been going on the past 4 months since... It's been around 4 months, right? Yeah, about 4 months.
Since when? Since what?
Since we got inducted.
Oh yeah, the Indieversary inductions.
So it's been a few months since all of that has happened, and all of us have been very busy building content. This you're hearing first. This is a exclusive piece as a new item into the 2017-2018 yearly season.
And don't forget about our Indienomicon t-shirts. We have a bunch of t-shirt varieties, and you can find them on our... Where's the link? I know it's on Facebook. I just shared it.
Yep. So you can go to bit.ly/Indienomicon shop. And you can access it that way. Or you can find us also on the Facebook page. Those links are being done. We have, like I said, Tony said, there's 2 shirts right now. We have a 2017 exclusive winning t-shirt from this year's Indieversary.
And it's definitely hot.
That's
It's
right.
very hot design.
That's right. And then the other one is due to the 1-year anniversary of the Pulse shooting. We have a exclusive Indienomicon Orlando Strong shirt. Mm-hmm. For those who purchase the shirt, a percentage of that shirt will actually go towards the victims we're going to have both shirts at limited supply quantity come in the July meetup. And then depending on how the reception is in July, we're going to have tons more in August.
Now, all of these shirts right now, we don't have a shipping option. You must come to one of our events to actually pick up your order. But you may be wondering, why the heck are we doing this online if you actually have to come to us? Well, we've been hearing for a long time, ladies' tees, specialty sizes. This is a way for us to get that without all of the extra problems that we've been incurring trying to do this before. If you order a shirt, you can order it to your specifications, and we will make sure when it is printed the shirt you want, the size you want, the men's tee, ladies' tee, whatever you want, we'll make sure it's what you want.
So adding on to that, so when you do go to the online store in a pre-order, more or less a pre-order standpoint, there'll be specific options for that style of shirt. So it'll tell you if it comes in different colors, if it comes in different sizes, if it comes in a men's or ladies type sizes, right? There might even be options where you can specifically get a women's style shirt for a particular type of design. Because several designs, we've only announced 2. There are several more coming that we
There will always be new designs coming.
I know. So just to keep that in mind as we go forward. Thank you, community, for coming by and listening to us for our very first introduction podcast for Replaycast, presented by Indienomicon.
And we'll see you next time at the E3 Replaycast, where we're going to go over some of our faves from the last E3 press conference.